All right, we are back yet again. More Power Baseball League coming at you. And so today, as promised, we're going to dive into interactive dashboards. So last time we did all the focus around sort of a classic, if you will, classic dashboards. And we set up a basic one just to get started, which leveraged the views and the charts we had already built in the weeks before that. Today, we're going to kind of do part 2 of dashboards and get into that whole interactive piece. Which is really exciting because there's a lot. I was blown away. This was all new to me. I had not really touched it in the last up until the last couple of weeks. Started reading through, and I'm blown away by the functionality that they've brought forward here.
Which is just great to show that we're not experts. We're learning all of this alongside of you. I've had just only a little bit of experience with these and thought they were pretty cool. So they're really interesting to talk about. Let's jump right in. I'll share my screen. The first thing we're actually going to do is create a chart that we're going to put on this dashboard called a tag chart. And I think they're really cool, and that's why I wanted them here. So I'm going to go down to my registration entity. So I'm already within a solution. Go to my registration entity that we're going to work on today. We're going to select charts. You're going to see the one that we were practicing on, but we're going to create a new one. And we're going to choose tag charts, and we're going to do this tag based on division. Division, let's see if we can spell. And I'm just going to select division in both of these. And so what this is going to do when we add it to our dashboard is create something that looks like this, where I can choose my division and use that to filter my list.
Super cool.
So let's save and close that guy, and then we're going to create that dashboard. So because we want to create an interactive dashboard from the Maker portal, I can create that here within the entity. So I'm going to click Add Dashboard, and let's click 3 column. Can be whatever we want.
Perfect. So this one we're going to set up just as we're doing a single stream, right? Is the way we decided this. And
exactly.
So what that means, and we want to encourage you to go to the docs. We're actually going to put the links down below to the Microsoft Docs site. You can look it up pretty quickly. Just do your favorite search engine and look up Interactive Dashboards D365, and you'll find the page. It's extensive in terms of detail, and there's all kinds of variation that you can do here. So there's a difference between multi-stream dashboards. So multi-stream being that the stream is the data that comes with it. So when you're building a chart, there's data attached to it, and you'll actually have the ability to click in the chart, and the data stream itself will reconfigure based on the data. So similar to what we have today in the classic chart experience when you're looking at a view, but you can't really do that on a dashboard. This whole piece changes that, which is really cool. You do have difference in terms of standard view. So that's where you actually have a chart at the top and then the data stream below, or a tile view. So that's chart at the top, but then it's just a tile with a number. So if you had, for example, if you were doing like my cases and there was 25 cases, you'd have a nice big box that showed 25. And so as you interact with the dashboard, then that number will change as you go through. And then, so that's multi-stream. And with multi-stream, you actually have the ability to have only one data set per stream. So it's got to be focused on one table, but you can have multiple tables referenced in that. So you could have my cases and then accounts and contacts, which was kind of cool. Now that's something I haven't played around with yet. We were messing around with a couple of different options as we built this one, and we wanted to get into that, but we didn't go that deep. We wanted to get the basics up first. As you know, if you've been watching and following along, we start with the really basic, simple stuff, get you introduced, get ourselves introduced to it, and then we'll kind of branch out and get more complex as we go. So Kylie, looks like you've got that all set up.
Yeah, thanks for that great overview. Let me show you what I did here. So the important things to note at the top is we chose our entity view that we're working on. So what records are we working on? And all of these interactive dashboards are always filtering by something and a time frame. So you're going to have to choose a date field and choose the time frame, with the default being up to last quarter. And I think there's a few like hacks you can use to get around this, but we're going to use last quarter, and we can also filter by modify that when we view it. I added in our charts, the one we created today and the one we created last week, and we added in our stream, which is going to come up. So I'm going to show you how this looks on within our app. Let me just do a quick refresh. So that's our dashboard we built yesterday or last week. And let's go down to our registrations. And within our registration, we can click over here to go open dashboards. And that'll show us the dashboards that we have built, right? So you can see here's our PBL registrations. We have our last quarter here. And what we can do is actually change this custom time frame. And let's add a bit more time in there. Click apply to get a few more records. Now you're going to say, but where are the charts that you added? So that's when you can click on Show Visual Filter, and it will pop up the charts that you can use to filter your data. So you'll see if I click somebody here, it filters down my divisions and also filters down my stream in the bottom half. Or similarly, I can do that using my divisions to filter the rest of the charts. The other cool thing I can do is in my Show Global Filter, I can add filters here. So you'll see we don't have anything here, but for any field that we want, let's jump back into our registration entity. We can choose a field. Let's say we want to choose our amount paid, for instance, and I can add that to be available as a global filter and available to be sortable in my interactive experience if I want to. So what this will mean is, I don't know if we're going to have time to publish that right now, but what this will mean is that that would come up here as a custom filter, and you could add, as many things as you want to here so that you could quickly sort this dashboard by any information. So one thing here, you might have a whole bunch of contacts linked to accounts, and you might want to be able to have a dashboard based on contacts that you could filter by that account. And so you could add that as a custom filter or something here. One thing we did quickly want to touch on is the difference between creating this in the classic interface versus the Maker portal. So, sorry, Malcolm, did you have something you wanted to say before I jumped into that?
No, I was just saying that's super cool. This, and like we said right off the top, it blew me away, all the stuff that they've rolled into this. And when you sit back and start to think of some of the real life applications and where this is valuable, I mean, from a user's perspective, yeah, everybody's different, of course, but a lot of people really gravitate to a visual representation of data. They want to see a chart, and then the ability to click those tags, like that's amazing for people to see a quick snapshot of what all the tags are and the number, the count of the records that show up there, and be able to interact with that. I mean, it's redundant to say it out loud, that these are so interactive. Of course they are. That's why they're called interactive dashboards. But when you sit back and think about what that means for the user who's using the system and digesting and working with the data, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, this is definitely my new favorite chart type. I think it's so cool. So quickly, we want to talk about how it's different if I create it through the Classic portal. So I'm just going to show you something we created on the Classic Designer. And again, let's expand our time frame, right? So we'll see this looks a little bit different because our charts are visible here all the time. And then we still have our global filter, and now you can see our amount paid that finished publishing. So it looks a little bit different. So when I have one we already created here. When I create this from the Classic Designer, let's see, in our solution, we create a new dashboard. It lets us choose interactive experience, and here we can choose our multi-stream versus single stream, and it shows us those different layouts. And when you create that, it puts your charts right here instead of setting up the visual filters like we saw creating it through the Maker portal. But the one thing you'll notice is I can't change the size of my charts here, which I can do if I open this guy up in the Maker portal. So I think just an example of there's lots of change going on, lots of things being transitioned to the Maker portal and things still in progress. So just if you can't do what you're trying to through the Classic portal, try it in the Maker portal and vice versa. But just some different options when you're trying to get these dashboards. And still the main important thing is that based on what we have in our registration, we can filter with the different charts, and there's a lot of options here. And one note is all of our charts don't have to necessarily be off of this registration entity. Only ones off of registration will filter based on our clicking. but if we create ones off of another entity, we still have the ability to add them here. It would just be, they just wouldn't filter with us. But of course, now that I'm clicking on it, it's not letting me do that. But I swear I did it before.
As you said, we're living
moving
around alongside people, right? So, and that's one of those things that could be different depending on how you get into it. If you're in the Maker portal, the experience may be a little bit different. So, that was a great call out, because there's lots of this stuff is changing all the time. Anybody who's been using it knows you can go to bed one night and get up the next, and all of a sudden there's a new function and feature available in the Maker portal portal that wasn't there yesterday, right? So, lots of change. So that, I think that's the overview that we wanted to give everybody. I believe, having not played around with this and then really trying to have been soaking it in over the last little while, this is a game changer for folks. And again, I'm a big proponent of like, what can you do to make the system more intuitive, more friendly, more functional for your users? This is massive add for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, completely agree. I think it's just anytime you see a dashboard, we're expecting it to filter and we're expecting to be able to sort and drill down and things like that. So this is just making it more intuitive and great for the user, and lots of options to play around with. And like we said, we showed you 5 minutes of us creating this. So just imagine what you can do if you really dive in and work hard at it. Absolutely. So hopefully that's given you the overview to be comfortable to do just that. Dive in, right? Go grab a sandbox, grab a trial, start messing around and see what you can come up with, and let us know. Drop a comment in the comment section and let us know what you've been able to create, or if this has been helpful, or things that maybe we overlooked and we should have talked about. We'd love to see your comments down there. Until next time, we will see you back next week. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.